Now for those of you that aren't new to the channel, you know I'm pretty fond of the early 2000 GTOs. So I brought in another one for you. This is a 2006 Pontiac GTO. It has 18,000 original miles on the chassis, about 6,000 miles on the engine build. And this thing is built, let me tell you, it is PROCHARGED and it makes 697 horsepower to the rear wheels. Now for the full photo shoot and write-up description, you can visit volocars.com. There you can study all the specs specifically on this car. You can see the full photo shoot, the undercarriage, anything you're looking for. It's on our website, volocars.com. We have a couple hundred both modern muscle and classic cars. They're all for sale. It's highly addicting. Check it out. All right guys, let's go for a spin. So like I was saying, this is a 2006 GTO. It has 18,000 miles on it, and it's finished in Phantom Black Metallic. Now from the outside appearances, it just looks like a stock ordinary GTO, but under the hood and underneath the body, it's definitely not stock, guys. It's been very well built, and this thing's a monster. It still has the original 17-inch Hyper Silver wheels on it. There is a slight curb rash on the front wheel. Looks like the rear wheels are okay. They do have like new BF Goodrich G-Force tires on them. They are the track performance style tires, so you need a lot of grip for this horsepower. These are going to help with that. Of course, we have the rear GTO spoiler on it. I love the Pontiac badges. You just don't see it anymore. Rest in peace, Pontiac. And the rear valance has that GTO logo that was cut out. There is a slight little paint peeling right in the center there. This does have a dual stainless steel Borla catback exhaust with the dual chrome muffler tips on it. The rear wheel here has a nice finish on it, no curb rash. Four-wheel disc brakes. Obviously they have the GTO red calipers on them, so this thing stops very aggressively with all that horsepower. This wheel's in really nice shape as well. There is a few little stone chips and nicks on the hood here. Again, this was a driven car, guys. It's been highly built up. It's not in excellent showroom quality, but it is in very, very great condition. Another little stone chip here. Now I do like the 06 or 0506 GTOs because they updated the hood. They give you the dual nostril raised grills in the hood here. Of course, you have your GTO speaker grills and the lower grill as well. The headlights are in fantastic shape. There's no fade on them. They're crystal clear. The chrome shines nicely. Same with the fog light covers. The lenses on them, they're crystal clear as well. Now, as slick as this car is on the outside, wait till you guys see the inside and underneath that engine bay. Let's take a look inside. So for 18,000 miles, this car sure doesn't feel like it on the inside. It looks and smells like new. I don't see any wear or tear anywhere in here, really. The seats are in fantastic shape. The leather is still super soft. The front driver and passenger seat have plenty of cushion in them. Usually they tend to get a little worn out. These are not that case. The rear headrests do not have the split seams on them, which is a common issue in this car. So this car has been very well kept. We have a telescopic and tilt steering wheel. You have your AC controls up in the front here. A stock CD disc changer, 6-disc changer I should say, with Bluetooth radio, AM, FM as well. You do have the red face gauges, which I love. It offsets kind of the black interior on it. Now this car does have the upgraded stock optioned GTO red face gauges in the center dash here. These are very hard to come by. So this has the boost gauge and the fuel pressure gauge. There is an added AEM wideband or air fuel ratio sensor or gauge over on the side pillar as well. Underneath on the driver's side of the dash is the methanol alky controller. So this does have water methanol added to the premium pump gas to get that 697 rear wheel horsepower. What a mouthful. Now under the driver's side of the dash here, you do have the alky water methanol controller unit. So this does have water meth hooked up with the 93 premium gas, and that's where you're getting all your horsepower from, reliably. In the center here, you have this beautiful leather stitched 6-speed manual transmission. This does have a different short throw shifter on it. I do not remember the exact brand of it, so I'll remember to mention it in the description. And if you guys are curious, this little red button right here in the center is line lock. So if you want to do a nice launch or burnout, you just hold this button. It's going to lock the brakes up. You dump the clutch and let it fly. Let's move on to the trunk area. So you do have 2 sets of keys with a built-in fob. There's a trunk release button on here. So inside I do have original dealer handbook catalogs from 2006 for the GTO. It's got a nice set of literature through here. This is pretty neat to have. We have the original owner's manual and a bunch of build receipts as well as the dyno sheet. So everything's in there. The total build cost was over 10 grand just for the engine alone. That's not to mention all the other parts that have been added on this car. I mean, if I had to guess, it probably easily has 25, 30 grand worth of add-ons on it. There is an extra, or I should say the original A-pillar where the AEM gauge is on the driver's side there. So if you were to ever remove that, you do have the stock one to put back in place without the built-in pod. Now the trunk isn't the largest space area. If you didn't know, most people don't know, the fuel tank or the gas tank is actually right here in the trunk, behind the seat and behind this cover here. Now underneath in the well, you do have the factory spare. It's beautiful. It's in excellent condition. The jack is still in there. This thing's never been removed. It's very, very clean in here. We'll get a close-up of that, but everything's untouched as well. All right, let's move on to the engine bay, guys. My favorite part. Can't wait to show you. Now there is tons of stuff to talk about under this hood, so I will do my best to remember everything. If I miss some stuff, don't worry. I have a very detailed description on our website, so make sure you check that out. Look at this thing. It just looks like a monster. So we have a built LQ9 block rated for 1100 horsepower. It has built AFR heads on it, custom grind comp can, fast intake system on here, 92 millimeter. Still has the stock throttle body. We have a D1 SC ProCharger, MSD 2-step with the line lock. You have your Mighty Mouse catch can as well. This engine bay is very menacing. It's also fairly clean, you know, for what's in here, guys. There's a lot of moving components, so or a lot of added components in here, so not a whole lot of room. There is enough room to work on stuff, but it's been kept very nice. The belts, it has the Gates racing belt on the supercharger side, or the ProCharger side I should say. Now it does have an upgraded interstate battery in here. We have billet fuel rails, fuel lab fuel pressure regulator. It does have bigger injectors. I'm not exactly sure on the CC size. I will try to find that out. Moving on to kind of underneath the car, it does have SLP long tube headers on it, guys, with the SLP catted mid pipes into the Borla, or the X pipe with the Borla S-type catback exhaust. It does have BC coilovers on it, front and rear. It does have a nice Hansen one-piece aluminum drive shaft under there. All the bushings have been upgraded to poly bushings, giving this thing the absolute best trackability that you need for the horsepower. It does have upgraded 1,000 horsepower DSS axles in the back. It is sitting on independent rear suspension. If you guys have never driven one of these cars, they handle very nicely. With these upgrades, it's going to keep the power to the ground and you're going to fly. Now I did forget to mention a couple other upgrades. It does have the Monster slave cylinder tick bleeder on it and the Street Slayer clutch in here. Obviously with this much horsepower, you need the right clutch. It's actually very streetable still, so this is an absolute street monster. Alright guys, we're going to show you a little bit how this car drives. The drivability is great on this thing. It cruises in a low gear just fine. The clutch grabs perfectly. This thing is solid. So it's not only built just for the track. You can daily this just fine. It's very comfortable. And look, everything's solid. There's no shakes or shimmers or anything like that. It's very quiet in the cab here. This is just very, very well built car. I can't stress it enough. All right, let's open it up a little bit. This thing is an absolute blast. Now that was my impression of this 2006 GOAT, or Pontiac GTO. Again, 18,000 miles on it, 697 rear wheel horsepower, about 6,000 miles on the built engine, and ProCharger setup. Guys, this thing has everything done, honestly, possible that you'd want done. It is very reliable. It was overbuilt for about 1,100 horsepower. Again, we have all the paperwork supporting the receipts for the build, and it's sitting as a reliable daily. If you are interested in purchasing this car, you can visit volocars.com. There you can click the Buy It Now button, secure a refundable deposit on this vehicle. It'll shoot us an email with your information. We can help set up financing. It's super easy. We can also get this shipped right to your driveway. It's just as easy. Check it out. Visit volocars.com. And thanks for checking this video out. I can't wait to see you guys on the next one.